Hi guys, so today's video is something different. It's not about trading, it's about how to increase your win rate slightly for ranked. If you enjoy it, leave a like, it will help me out a lot. But yeah, you might know the situation that you are, for example, at a gold rank and you win and lose like 50% of your games each, and you don't make progress because you don't have those slightly advantages which increase your win rate up to like, let's say 51%, which would be enough to rank up. But yeah, I collected 20 tips for that, which will help you to gain those slightly advantages to be able to rank up even higher. So let's jump into it. So yeah, the first thing is always warm up before you start playing ranked. But how should you warm up? Yeah, so if you play a game and you have a spot in which you have a difficult decision, save the replay, watch the spot and rebuild the spot in a custom training. This has a bunch of advantages because if you warmed up, you're more concentrated and you're a lot faster in those hard spots because you trained them. You know what to do, even if it doesn't work out, but you act a lot faster, which is a huge advantage. So yeah. So the next thing is always drink and eat before you start playing, and also maybe in the meantime between the matches, because if you don't eat and drink before you play, you won't have full access to your brain abilities, and yeah, you will just play a lot slower because your brain needs more time to find solutions for different spots, and yeah, it's just a disadvantage if you don't drink and eat. And the third one is try to have a silent boost. Try to have a boost which is not distracting or does block your view. Because let's say, for example, your opponent is in a situation in which he can't see you, because let's say he has the ball cam on and the ball is above him, but you start boosting, and because your boost is very loud, he hears you coming, which could be included in his decision making and could be a disadvantage for you. So my next one is always try to prepare your mind game strategies pre-game. Let's say you're playing a 1 versus 1 and you're in a situation, you're attacking with the ball, and in the spot you have 3 options. For example, you could flick the ball to the goal, you could shoot the ball to the goal, or you could air dribble the ball to the goal. But if you need time to think about it, let's say the ball is bouncing right now, and during the time you think about it, the ball is bouncing lower, so the result will be weaker, no matter which decision you take. Or probably the best decision will be gone because of your thinking. Let's say your first shot is, for example, an air dribble, your second shot is a flick, and your third shot is a hard shot. But keep in mind, most people are prepared for the most common shot. And the most common shot is probably the hard shot to the net. So try to use maybe like the air dribble at your first shot, and at the second shot something else, so you're unexploitable, because after, for example, your first shot was an air dribble, he will be prepared for the second time for the air dribble. Just balance it, use a different one, and the third time use a different one again. Just balance it so you're unexploitable. And my next point is fear equity. But how do you gain fear equity? You gain fear equity, for example, by showing your Grand Champion title, your Rocketeer title, or your Champion season rewards. Yeah, because there are people who think, shit, there is a Grand Champion, I won't have a chance anyways. Though some of them even start to tilt or just play weaker, or if you score, for example, 2 goals, they just give up because they think, yeah, he's Grand Champion, it's a waste of time to continue. And the next one is a very, very sick one. I'm pretty sure that at least 90% of you have never ever thought about it. But yeah, you should try to make the colors of your car as similar to the colors of the map as possible. it will make it a lot harder for your opponent to see you, and even then it will make it a lot harder for him to get an idea of how far you are away. And the outcome of that is that he will lose more 50-50s on average than he would if your car was more visible. And with my next tip you can even expand that. Let's say you play a game, you most likely focus on the player's name to see where he is, but let's say he doesn't have a name. Let's say his name are only 2 dots. You won't be able to see that. The only thing you see is an orange stripe or a blue stripe. So your car will become even more invisible to him. And my next one is, don't use items which are distracting, block your view, or give you just wrong informations. For example, the toppers are distracting if they are animated, and they block a lot of your view and give you a wrong information about your hitbox. Or boosts, those can be distracting too, or block a lot of your view, or give you a wrong information if it's, for example, the slime boost, which makes you think that your car is still slow even while you're boosting. So yeah, just try to keep it simple as possible so you get an advantage over those people who use, for example, a topper or any other distracting item. So my next one is use mods. There are some mods on Rocket League mods which are pretty nice. For example, the colored ball. You can implement a red ball, for example, and you might know the situation on the Starbase map or on dark maps on which it's very hard to even see the ball. And my next tip is upvote the maps which most people don't like for example the Wasteland map and the Starbase map, because there are people who start to tilt on those maps because they don't know exactly how to play on them. And if you train on them, you will definitely have an advantage against those people, and especially with Rocket League mods, because there is already a mod with which you can change the field color of the Starbase map, so it's a lot easier for you to see the ball in contrast to your opponent, which will give you an additional advantage. You might have seen the customized map in my thumbnail. So yeah, let's go to the next tip. And the next section is when to play, which is a pretty smart one, which could give you a huge advantage against others. So I'm, for example, from Europe, so obviously I select the European region to play on. So let's, for example, say I play at 2 CET midnight when most European players are offline. So it's very unlikely that I face up against a European player at that time, but it's very likely that I face up against a player from another region who selected all regions to play on. So the chance that I get a player who has a very high ping against me is a lot higher than the chance when I would, for example, play at 20 CET when most European players are online. So definitely keep that in mind. It's a very huge advantage. And the next one is, if you played against a player which you easily beat, immediately search for another game, especially when the whole amount of players online in Rocket League is very low. The chance is very high that you play against him again. And the other side, if you played against someone who was better than you, just wait a few minutes before you search another game to try to prevent him. And the next one is, let's say you played at 20 CET against a very bad player, just note that down, and on the next day try to play again at the same time, because from time to time you will see the same players at the same times, and especially if your rank is very high, this tip can become very effective. So keep that in mind, and let's see the next one. And the next one is pretty smart again. You might remember the situation when the Turbo Crate came out. A lot of people used the Endo car, but the Endo car had a new hitbox. So it took quite a while for people to adjust themselves to the new hitbox. So if a new car releases with a new hitbox, try to play at that time, because you will face up against some players who use the new car but haven't adjusted to its hitbox, which will give you another slightly advantage. And the last section is in-game tips. The first one is, if you are in a very close game and you are in the lead, try to take as much time as possible from the clock in as many as possible spots. It's pretty self-explaining. The chances for your opponent to win the game are a lot lower if you steal him the time to do so. And the next one is a pretty tiny one, but definitely worth mentioning it. If you, for example, playing a 3 versus 3 and you are at the kickoff, just take a quick look at the wheels, in which directions the wheels from your teammates show, so you get an idea for which boost they will go, and you can adapt to that and go for another boost. And the next one is, try to balance your gameplay, which means if you, for example, attack, don't try to air dribble all the time, every time when you're in that spot. Or at kickoffs, don't always do the same kickoff. Try to balance it a bit, maybe even exploit the kickoff from your opponent. So yeah. Alright, so the next one is, try to tilt him, but obviously don't insult him. Try to tilt him by, for example, scoring turtle goals or watch the whole replay of a goal, because once he is tilted, he won't be able to play his full potential, he won't be able to focus 100% anymore, and yeah, you will just win more often. Alright, last but not least, which I already mentioned partly before, is to increase your in-game sound, because you get a lot more information if you hear everything. For example, you get information when he's boosting, maybe where he's boosting, or when he's double jumping, and a few more things. So keep that in mind. I hope this video helped you. I hope you will be able to improve your rank with my tips. So have a great day, leave a like if you enjoyed it, and see you soon.